All right, let's talk about one of the most interesting stocks out there right now, MicroStrategy. Now, on paper, they're a software company. But if you've looked at their stock chart lately, especially after that pretty gnarly drop, you'd know it doesn't trade like a software company at all. It acts a lot more like, well, like Bitcoin. So that's the big mystery we're going to solve today. Why on earth is this company stuck, MSTR, on the exact same wild roller coaster as crypto? And, maybe more importantly, with the stock sitting at such a critical spot right now, what could happen next? Okay, let's get into it. Here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll pull back the curtain and show you why MSTR is basically Bitcoin in disguise. Then, we'll see how it's holding up in this latest crypto storm. We're going to zoom way in on one key price, that $180 line, before mapping out the path to a potential rebound. And finally, we'll cover the signals you need to be watching for right now. Okay, first up, MSTR, Bitcoin in disguise. You see, to really get why this stock is so volatile, you have to understand its not-so-secret identity. It's a key to this whole story.
And here it is. This is the big reveal. MicroStrategy holds a mind-boggling amount of Bitcoin. We're talking somewhere around 650,000 of them. And this isn't just some side investment. This is their entire corporate strategy. They have, for all intents and purposes, turned their company into a massive vault for Bitcoin.
And that brings us to a really important term you gotta know, leveraged proxy. It sounds complicated, but it's not. Because they hold so much Bitcoin, MSTR stock doesn't just follow Bitcoin, it amplifies it. When Bitcoin has a good day, MSTR tends to have a great day. But, and this is a big but, the opposite is also true. When Bitcoin drops, MSTR can absolutely plummet. It's like Bitcoin is the music, and MSTR is that music blasted through a giant stadium speaker. Which naturally brings us to what's happening right now, weathering the crypto storm. Because when the crypto market gets choppy, a leveraged proxy like MicroStrategy isn't just near the coast, it's sailing right through the eye of the hurricane. Let's see how they're handling it. So the timeline is pretty straightforward. A little while back, Bitcoin's price took a dive, and like clockwork, MSTR stock got hit with a massive sell-off. But here's the really interesting part, what the company did about it. They built up a huge cash reserve, $1.44 billion. This was a purely defensive move, a way to signal to the market, hey, we're fine. We don't have to sell our Bitcoin at these low prices. They're battening down the hatches. But even with all this drama, it's not all doom and gloom. You got some analysts looking at this exact moment of weakness and still slapping a buy rating on the stock. Their logic is really simple. If you believe that Bitcoin will eventually bounce back, then MSTR, its leveraged proxy, is set up for an even bigger, more explosive rebound. And this leads us right to the heart of the action today. It all comes down to one number on the chart. Let's talk about the critical $180 line. This is the technical battleground that could be a launch pad for a huge recovery, or a trapdoor to a much bigger drop. I really like this quote because it just perfectly sums up how important this level is. Okay, that all sounds super technical and complicated, right? So let's just break down in simple terms why everyone is staring at this one specific number right now. Okay, there are 4 big reasons. First, it's a huge technical support level. Just think of it like a floor that the price has had trouble breaking through. Second, it's a psychological line in the sand. Investors who are in this stock for the Bitcoin story are looking at $180 as the spot where it should bounce. Third, you have a ton of options traders who have bet that the price will stay above this level. That means there's a lot of money incentivized to defend this price. And finally, for traders, it's just a clean spot to manage risk. It clearly tells them when their bullish idea is wrong. So the stage is perfectly set at this $180 mark. And from this one point, the story can branch into 2 totally different futures. So let's look at the bull case for a big rebound and the bear case for a painful breakdown. So the bullish scenario, the one a lot of people are hoping for, looks something like this. Bitcoin itself stops going down and starts to rally. As that happens, a flood of buyers jumps into MSTR right around $180, and those options traders help defend that level. If all those pieces fall into place, you could see a really powerful bounce. But the bear case is just as possible. If Bitcoin rolls over and continues to fall, it will be almost impossible for MSTR to swim against that tide. A break below $180 could trigger a wave of automated selling, making things worse. MSTR's fate is really not its own right now. So where does that leave us? Well, it brings us to the most practical, actionable part of this whole thing. What to watch now? What are the specific signs that are going to tell us which way this thing is about to break? Okay, let's get down to it. Here are the things to keep your eyes on. First and foremost, can the price stay above that $180 to $182 area? That is job number one for the bulls. Next, and this is obvious, you have to watch Bitcoin. A rally in BTC is pure rocket fuel for MSTR. For you chart watchers, you'll be looking for technical signs like a MACD crossover to confirm that momentum is shifting back to the upside. And the big red flag, the warning signal, that would be a clean break below about 175, especially if it's on heavy selling volume. That tells you the floor has given way. So we're left with this one big question. Is a potential rebound from $180 a savvy investment in a company with a bold strategy, or is it really just a speculative bounce in a very high-stakes crypto game? The answer is probably going to unfold very, very soon, and it all comes down to that pivotal line in the sand. Thanks for watching.